Yeah, we gonna get it together, y'all. We gonna get it together. See, and I'm gonna upload probably in another hour or whatever. I'm uploading this analysis of this, because this, you got to think, we probably wouldn't have heard about this too much. Pretty much everything we do and everything we say is based on technology right now, because we would have never had this conversation. And I'm speaking to, like, the Umar thing, and I'm not gonna get on them too much. I just had that one thing to say, and because looking at PayPal, I might have to do a dive on PayPal too, about PayPal. Most people know about it. The world we live in, and that's why I did the thing about the bubbles and all that kind of stuff. The world we live in now is different than what the world that I used to live in the late 90s and the 2000s. That was not long ago. To my younger listeners, it wasn't long ago. And it's not, I'm not real old. I'm not like an old guy. But we used to think in our 20s, we used to think um we used to think that was old. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we was 18, 19, 20, like, I remember um when I was like, okay, I'll bring it back to 2003. Around my age, when I was like 22, 20, something like that, a lot of it now feels like a blur. Um, I used to close this real quick. I used to, like, that was a thing. Like, in our 20s, if you talking to like an older female or whatever like that, your homie's giving you big props. And sometimes she didn't even have to look like much. But just the idea that you're able to have that conversation, and it doesn't necessarily mean that she was a younger minded woman, but keep in mind that 10 years of age with a woman, that's different age for us, man. You got to understand that. So a woman that's 30 or in her 30s, especially if she already had a kid, she done went through that phase that we're going through. Women mature faster than us. Right here. You see what I'm saying? Men around 30s, they hitting their peak. Woman is around 40, 50. She started to come down. She's ready to hang it up. A lot of times in the workplace, y'all seen some sisters in the workplace when they around 40 or 50. If they work in strenuous environments, they gonna be assholes. They gonna be like, man, they not gonna be happy. That the workplace diminishes them. They much rather be sitting at home and letting the man take care of all that stuff. I don't care what they tell you. They don't enjoy getting up every day, dealing with corporate and all the stresses and all of that kind of stuff like that. They don't enjoy that. Unless they power hungry, they rather us handle that. They much rather us handle that. Unless they're feminists or something like that. But generally, they were. So she's 30. I'm 20. So she done went through the baby daddy, baby drama. So they like, after a while, they like, well, shit, I'll go get me a young nigga. He can just do what I need to do and just, so they're not looking at it from, most of the time, they're not looking at it long term, like, well, he's gonna bring me into my next, you're just there for the time being or whatever the case may be. And sometimes it does. Sometimes you might have, but like, so my point of the matter, I was kind of getting off subject. I was just talking about, like, when we were coming up, we didn't know about this right here. We had to use the advent of the internet to find out about this. Now, this brother right here that I'm getting ready to talk about, he created video game pioneering as we know it. Now, I'm going to play this. So Hopefully I don't get a strike for the music or whatever, but I'm gonna let the sister cook. Stay focused.
Wait a second. Let's talk about this one. But before we do that, sponsor of this video, Mbit. I had to add a brand new Channel F to my collection. Why, you say? Because it's one of the most important consoles in gaming history. This beautiful thing here is called the Fairchild Channel F, invented by Jerry Lawson in 1976. He became known as the father of modern gaming because the Channel F was the first at-home console to have removable cartridges. He also invented the 8-way joystick, as well as the pause button. Our favorite companies like Atari, Nintendo, and even Sega followed suit behind the Channel F. It's important not to forget the Channel F. It's because of them we're at where we are today in the gaming world.
But you learn something. Do something that makes you think about the next generation.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right. So that brother died in 2011. We should know who that is. My homie I'm gonna bring on one day, Titan said something. He said, niggas know about J-Pay, but they don't know about J-Core. I'm like, They know about J-Pay, but they don't know about J-Core. And I did a program about J-Pay. That one stung me for a minute. I knew about J-Core, but just kind of in retrospect. And what he was saying, he wasn't dissing anybody. He was saying, you know, J-Pay is probably one of the most exploitive services. There was a video I did, y'all, and we'll get back on this in a minute so I don't get too far out. There was a video that I did when I was working on my music and stuff like that. Because remember, I told y'all, the cars, the technology, the clothes. It was in our 20s. That was all that's all we thought about. Trying to make some money, trying to figure it out. Want to ride, you want to ride clean, got to get to work, got to get some bread. And then the music was just, right or wrong, it was just part of it. It was different for me because I came up listening to Sketches of Spain. I did not grow up on hip hop coming in. I was listening to Sketches of Spain and Marvin and Mozart doing my homework as a child when my mom and them brought me to the library. So the architecture of how Nintendo and all that stuff in video games was all correct created. It was the early 90s and all of that. That was the 80s and the early 90s to me was just like it felt like a damn renaissance. Meanwhile, the 94 crime bills being passed. Illmatic's just coming out. Illmatic just came out and the 94 crime bill was dropping. I didn't know anything about that. I'm going in and seeing my brother with his boombox. Not boombox, but his stereo, because we had tapes. Who is Nas? This big-headed kid. Who's this fat nigga in this purple tape? Why is the tape? Why is this dude standing behind him and he's sitting there like, I'm looking like, who's this? Who's this? You know, I'm clowning them. I'm roasting like, man, not only Built for Cuban Links, one of the best fucking albums I've ever listened to in my life. One of the most rawest, rugged albums I ever listened. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there, you know, now this is many, many years later, but I'm like, who's this fat nigga, man? And why is he standing behind him? Like, you know, I'm like, only Built for Cuban Links. Like, are they Chinese or something? Like, I don't, you know. My dad, he hates rap at this time. My brother playing all the rap. You know what I'm saying? He's playing all the hip hop. He's playing all the rap. And here I go, put a fake name, somehow get a CD player from my white buddy. White buddy stealing CD players. This is before it had the ESP skip protection. And he up here, he's stealing CD players, and I give him a couple dollars, and here I go on BMG, Tupac, All Eyes on Me, Double Disc, Wu-Tang Forever. And All City or something, All City, and it was a couple other albums or something like that. And I'm just mesmerized. The first CD I bought, the first CD that I had was the Best Buy. He probably stole it from Best Buy or something. It was the Best Buy sampler. It had the We Are Family. I just played it over and over and over and over and over. And I'm looking at this disc like I ain't got to rewind this shit. That's what I was telling y'all about culture. Every kid, black or white in America, was going through what I was going through when I got a CD player. That shit was just like a whole, it like shook your world. You're looking at this and then you hit the little thing. Damn, it skips. Okay, let me hold that real quick. We be up on the bus when we finally get on the bus and the bus is moving. You got to hold it. Then they came up with ESP, electronic skip protection. I'm hitting my CD player like this shit don't skip. This shit don't skip. You know, so when we talk about video games, what that meant to us in America, I'm not sure how it was. We had no clue. We didn't think outside of America. We didn't give a damn about anything outside of America. We just sitting in cold ass Minnesota like, man, we got Sega Channel, NBA Jam. He's on fire. Yoga Flame. Dude sitting up there levitating. Yoga Flame. We didn't know who made that, man. Jerry Lawson, man. Jerry Lawson, the father of modern gaming. We didn't know what the hell to think about that. All we knew was we want to play the game. And we would play the game and go outside. We would play the game and go outside, self-taught. We would play the game and we would go outside too. We'd have our bikes. So like I would tell this story, put this back on it real quick. I tell this story all the time about, you know, I never forget the story about my homie Q. And it always makes me sad because, you know, I don't like talk about him all the time, but you know, like I think about him a lot when I think about Turtles in Time and shit like that, man. He was. It's kind of hard for me now, man. Turtles in Time, man. He let me borrow he wouldn't let me have it on the weekend. And when he got on that bus, he wanted that shit back. He gave it to me like 2 days, like a rental. We used to have this place called Crown Video, man, and he gave me the Turtles. It wasn't Turtles in Time. He had the Genesis. It was Hyperstone Heist, but Hyperstone Heist and Turtles in Time was similar. This is when I had the Genesis, and I wanted the Super Nintendo because when Donkey Kong came out, I was like, man, I should have waited because I begged my parents for that Genesis. Remember, Genesis came out first. It was 16-bit, and then Super Nintendo came out, and it changed the game. Nintendo was still selling already, but man, when Super Nintendo had capabilities that was above and beyond Genesis. Remember, Genesis came out in the 80s. Genesis came out 88, 89. So when the Super Nintendo came out and you had Donkey Kong Country, Genesis didn't have graphics like that. But I remember, I think it was maybe 94 or something. And I remember that Batman and Robin. The Batman and Robin on Genesis was way better than on any other platform. The one on Super Nintendo was cool. But man, that Genesis, that Batman and Robin, that double disc that was on Sega Channel, man, please. That would eat. And then the soundtrack was slamming. Doom, the things when he coming down on the balloons and Batman and Robin is throwing them battering, man, that shit was like, I don't even know, that might have been kind of too much for kids. That shit was violent as hell. And they coming at you left and right. And you putting in work. Like I said, we used to play the video game to watch the WWF, and we used to like do moves on each other. We used to fuck each other up on the pavement in the grass, doing them damn moves and stuff like that. We used to fight. We used to really fight when we were kids, man. Like, but all in all, I just think about, we never knew that a black man was behind that, man. This brother died in 2011, man. And we never knew that a black man was behind this, from Brooklyn, New York. So let's dig into Jerry Lawson. Known for his work in designing the Fairchild Channel F. Let's look at the Channel F. All right. This is the Channel F that the sister was talking about. This is what the Channel F looked like. Okay. So now, and this is, of course, going to be a part of the Foundational Freedmen series. So it sold a decent amount of units, it looks like, in 79, trailing behind Atari. It was discontinued in 1983. So he was known for his work in designing the Channel F, leading the team to refine ROM cartridges for durable use at commercial video game cartridges. His innovations in this area led to him being considered the father of the game cartridge. We don't have no culture, right? So now he was born in Brooklyn. It looks like his parents ensured he received a good education and encouraged his interest in scientific hobbies, including ham radio and chemistry. So now your teachers, or not your teachers, but your parents, need to let you know more about J-Core as opposed to J-Pay. See? His first grade teacher encouraged him to be on the path similar to George Washington Carver. Now, if you look up George Washington Carver was responsible for a lot of stuff going on in Ford. I was telling my homie the other day, Black Americans implemented the economic structure behind Coca-Cola, which in the 80s, we demanded that apartheid come down in South Africa through Coca-Cola and other ventures and stuff like that. Coca-Cola, Ford, Cadillac. You could do some research right now and find out we was the economic force behind a lot of that stuff. So when you're looking at the buying power and all of that kind of stuff, yeah, man, we're the, I'm telling you, you take us out the US, man, you ain't got nothing. We're the fabric. Anyway, so now he grew up in Queens. He repaired TV sets. I'll never forget when I bought my first TV in VCR. I think I was working at some little odd job and I bought one. We go down to Blockbuster and stuff like that. He got an amateur radio license at 13, built his own station with parts. He went to college. He did not complete a degree. He didn't complete a degree. Not saying you shouldn't. I'm just telling you. 1970, he joined Fairchild Semiconductor in San Francisco as an application engineering consultant with the sales division. He created a coin-operated video game called Destruction Derby in his garage, which was never released. Completed in early 75 using Fairchild's new F8 microprocessors. Destruction Derby was among the earliest microprocessor-driven games. So in the 70s, he was made chief hardware engineer and directing of engineering. So he built the Fairchild Channel F console, released in 76. In 1980, he left Fairchild, founded VideoSoft, a video game development company that made software for the Atari 2600. Died of diabetes. He lost use of a leg, lost sight of one eye in 2003. That hit home a little bit, so I got to get myself together. Legacy. Although Alpex created removable ROM cartridges, the contributions by Lawson's team to ensure their safe use and longevity for consumer game consoles led him to being named as the father of the video game cartridge. You see? So, you would not have Nintendo without him. You would not have Genesis without him. You would not have Game Boy without him. Right? Is that correct? I believe so. Going over here to vintage computing and gaming. Here's an interview. In late 2006, I received a large collection of vintage computer magazines from a friend. For days, I sat on my office floor and thumbed through nearly every issue, finding page after page of priceless historical information. One day, while rapidly flipping through a 1983 issue of Popular Computing, I encountered a photo that stopped me dead in my tracks. Now, this is February 24th, 2009 by Benj Edwards. This is on vintagecomputing.com. There I discovered, among a story on a new computer business, a picture of a black man. It might seem crazy, but after reading through hundreds of issues of dozens of publications spanning 4 decades, it was the first time I had ever seen a photograph of a black professional in a computer magazine. Frankly, it shocked me, not because a black man was there, but because I had never noticed his absence. That discovery sent my mind spinning with questions, chiefly among them, why are there so many African Americans in the electronics industry? Now, let's go back to this when we talk about foundational Black American culture. Some people don't like the word whatever. We're the foundation. We don't give a damn. You could use a freedman if you want. You could keep on using African American. There's nothing in this country that we don't touch, that we don't make better. Nothing. And there's really nobody that can combat that fact. So when we start talking about things like reparations and the injustice that happened to us in this land, and you get somebody telling you that, well, that shouldn't be the case, it's not that we weren't qualified to do this kind of work. It was a system in place to stop us from doing so. So we'll move on. Why are there so few African Americans in the electronics industry? Honestly, I didn't know any black engineers or scientists to ask. I tried to track down the man in the magazine, but all my leads ended up nowhere. I'd have to put the matter aside and wait for another opportunity to address the issue. Fast forward a few months later, I'm standing on the showroom floor of Vintage Computer Festival 9.0. As I spent a few minutes thumbing through a vendor's large array of cartridges for sale, I hear a voice from behind. Do you have any VideoSoft cartridges? Color bar generator? I turn around and notice a large black man in the wheelchair, hair graying at the edges. He seems out of place. I scan the crowd. Yep, he's the only black guy here. Fascinating. What's his story? Instead of bumbling through a few impromptu questions and making a fool out of myself, I decided to research his identity first. As it turns out, the man I encountered today was Gerald A. Lawson, aka Jerry, co-creator of the world's first cartridge-based video game system, the Fairchild Channel F. Naturally, he was attending VCF 9 to give a presentation called The Story of the Fairchild Channel F Video Game System. Being one of the only 2 black men I know of deeply involved in the industry's earliest days, Jerry Lawson is a standout figure in video game and computer history. He's a self-taught electronics genius who, with incredible talent, audacity, and strong guidance from his parents, managed to end up at the top of his profession despite the cultural tides flowing against him. Growing up in America, a land of endless diversity, we tend to fall into certain cultural grooves, well-defined paths of cultural history that both unite and separate us. We get comfortable with those grooves and use them as the basis of our assumptions about behavior within certain age groups, social economic classes, and ethnicities. Despite this ingrained cultural momentum, there are still people who manage to skip those grooves and chart their own course, ignoring any conventions that get in their way. Jerry Lawson is one of them, and he's got an important story to tell. This interview took place on February 6, 2009 over the phone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let y'all read the interview. I rest my case. I ain't got to say a damn thing else.